when Judson went out, the brilliant graduate of Brown University, one of our most brilliant sons, the people said in this country, oh, the tragedy of such a waste. Think of as brilliant a man as Adoniram Judson going out to Burma to waste his life among those pagans. And they said, why, any church in America would count herself most highly favored to have that man stand in her pulpit as her pastor. Think of his going out like this, that brilliant, wonderful man. What about him now? All the men who criticized him are forgotten, and their very name. And Judson's name is a household word. I saw in Burma the best developed missionary field in all the world. I saw them by the tens of thousands with their noble churches and colleges and hospitals and schools of all grades. And I had fellowship with many of the noblest men and women I've met around the world. And when the name of Judson would be called, as I called it to be sure, in every address, faces would glow and eyes would be moist, and brawny men would tremble with fresh inspiration at the name of Judson. Judson sold his life to a cause more important than any other cause in all the world. But in every way Satan sought to hinder him. Judson was 7 years abroad, over he had one convert. And our people here in the homeland wrote him, if those miserable heathen won't hear you in 7 years, shake off the dust of your feet for a testimony against them and come home, where any church or college or gathering of people in America will count itself, herself, honored to have you as her guest. And Judson simply wrote back to them all, I expect to give my life to Burma, my whole life. And if God wills, I shall sleep on Burmese soil. He didn't. You remember he died at sea, and they tossed his body, dead body, to the waves as they tossed yours and mine if we were on the ship at sea. And Judson said, writing back to these who sought to circumvent him and bring him home and get him out of the missionary work, Judson said, I am following the promise of him who said, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. And said Judson, though none have come out for Christ, in all the years I've been here, someday somebody will come, and somebody else. Now our Baptist people have more in Burma than all the non-Catholic denominations put together and the Catholics thrown in. One man with a gentle, brave, capable, faithful wife, Anne Hasseltine Judson, at his side. One couple have turned the whole great land away from Satan in the upward climb to the feet of Christ. Wonder of wonders, wonder of wonders. Any great cause, the building of an institution, the building of a Christian college, an orphanage, a hospital, any great cause has its adversaries, sometimes indirect but real, and the indirect adversary is sometimes just as wounding and more so than the direct. Now here in this ancient scene about the building of the temple for God, there are many lessons, but I have time to dwell briefly on two. And first of all, God prohibits discouragement in the life of his people. He forbids it, discouragement in the life of his people. Everywhere in his word you can hear his ringing call, wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Be of good courage. Jesus tells us, in the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. You're not in any losing battle. You go bravely on. I think that prophecy made by Isaiah respecting the coming Messiah is glorious. Isaiah said, when he comes, the Messiah, he shall not fail, nor be discouraged. He shall not fail, nor be discouraged. Men ask me these days, wherever I go, don't you think Christianity has failed? Don't the signs prove it? And I say they don't even hint at the proof of it. Everything has failed except Christianity. Big business has failed. Diplomacy has failed. Statecraft has failed. Secular education has failed. All has failed except Christianity. And Christ stands in the marketplaces of life, in all the bewildering circumstances in which poor bludgeoned humanity finds itself. Christ stands in their midst saying, haven't you tried that futile thing long enough? And that other long enough and too long? Try me. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.